in my mind, is taken away now. So what does Smash want to do? Does he want to just go for the blind Yunara and see if they can fight their way through this and get to the scaling part of the later game? Does he want to play the safer Ezreal? Does he want to play Xayah? Aphelios without Lulu is pretty tricky here. They could try to go for the Thresh angle, but it just feels like in this situation, we've seen it time and time again, Smash just drops the Ezreal. And he has an individual performance that is insane, but it's sometimes his team cannot back it up elsewhere on the map, and Ezreal is not, to me, the pick that you can get it done alone with a lot of the time.
Yeah, I also feel like this composition is pretty all-in, and so if you have started a scrap, I don't think you get that time to sort of just dance around the neutral that the Ezreal does really love to do. As Pays taking a leaf out of the Guma book here, considering the Caitlyn.
Yeah, looking like it.
As Yunara
Karma.
Yunara Karma. So not a massive amount of engage, but it doesn't actually really matter because they outrange this so far. Not necessarily on the bottom side of the map. The Ezreal will be able to take pot shots and things like that, but the Jace should be able to threaten with these shock blasts.
What is the engage to kill this Yunara?
Like, well, Korea might be showing us. The problem is, if you do choose an engage support, this lane is not going to be fun. And instead, all right, this is a way to do it. Just go for a bit of an all-in.
So this
in game number 2, if DPLUS do want to even out the series, let's get into it. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the rift for the second game of the series. DPLUS wanting to see whether they can get back on the horse once again. Showmaker on his rise. I feel like, once again, going to have a decent time in the lane you already mentioned. We have seen the Taliyah versus Ryze matchup. Right here, we can see things working out relatively evenly in level 1, but it should be that Showmaker can pretty comfortably build up to his first couple of items and do a lot more damage than what Faker will be able to do on this Taliyah, assuming he goes for the same relatively anemic build that we've seen quite a few times with the Rylai's second. Hook going to connect, as Carrier will just not really mind because it's level 1 and hits the Mantra to Q.
Yeah, just going to continue to harass here. As long as you don't get hooked under turret, Carrier.
Yeah.
He's really standing close to... yep, standing close to a hook.
Oh, and there it is! Not going to quite have level 2 just yet, so Pay's not going to get knocked up, but that could have been worse.
Yeah.
Invested the Ghost.
I don't think it matters too much in this lane because you're like, okay, cool, now your hook's on cooldown and we're still Karma Yunara pushing into you, but didn't need to happen that way.
No. And they do at least punish Korea with a Mantra Q there.
Like there is almost no champion. Like obviously Ashe Seraphine trumps all, but there's almost no champion in the game that warps lane like Karma does, where it's like, yeah, my AD carry did get hooked by Blitzcrank under turret and take a turret shot, and it means nothing. We're still winning, by the way. This wave is crashing through, and we're gonna. He just looks back and he's like, all right, I will Mantra Q again.
Oh, we had the little zoom. Jonah Strong was thinking that Korea might be going for it. Decides not to. We do have a Lee Sin in the area, as DPLUS will be considering a little bit of a recall, but doesn't actually come on through as Doran and Xiu fighting against one another. I feel like no matter how the meta changes, we will always just have the odd Sion Jace game.
Yeah, that's just how it goes. Chronicle always wished for a little bit more Malphite into Jace, but
yeah,
we never actually had the odd Malphite into Jace game.
At least it's unstoppable something as his ultimate, you know?
Yeah.
There's that.
Well, the Jace is going to win the matchup unless errors are made by Doran, and sometimes it can be a fun matchup if the Jace wants to play hyper-aggressive and, you know, the Sion gets some trades back once he has a few more levels in him.
Oh. Lucid does discover Owner. Yeah, he just does come on through there. But Showmaker making his way over here as well. Has to deal with the rocks as at least the seismic shove does not quite connect. Vision everywhere though, so Korea not going to be able to find these cute little hooks from the Fog of War.
Yeah, actually ends up being pretty good control here by DPLUS to grab that scuttle.
Ooh, Smash not going to quite find the Essence Flux angle.
Hayes does not have barrier, so making big outplays on his own is going to be pretty tricky here when he's alone. With the Karma there, he kind of permanently has barrier, feels like, obviously. And Doran is just going to say, all right, thanks for your TP and 4th your health bar.
Yep. He had just made his way back to lane as well, and so it's not exactly as bad as it could have been there for Shu, but still doesn't feel fantastic as Lucid makes his way towards the top side for his Gromp, but that does have vision on it, and so T1 know exactly what's going on. Good angle there as Faker throws a big old rock at Showmaker. Nothing else going to really come of it, as Showmaker does have a slight CS advantage. And Korea is moving up the mid lane, looking to poke his head in, see what Showmaker's up to as Smash will be able to collect this wave. It's not going to be end of the world. Should be able to even out things as far as CS are concerned across the board on that bottom side.
Yeah, nothing crazy. The agency that T1 have early here hasn't, led to a massive lead. Speaking of agency.
Yeah, there's the knock-up onto Faker. Showmaker in a little bit of trouble, gets the heal as the flash comes out. Korea had already thrown the hook, though. Still gets the flash that he was looking for. Has to invest the heal.
They know there's no Blitzcrank in the bottom lane, so FaZe can just continue to push this in and grab a plate. So it's not all for nothing here for T1 with that flash being expended for Faker. They do get the cross map on the bottom side. A small one.
Yep.
But one to be sure.
Bit of extra money. Certainly feels good as now Doran dives on top of Shu.
He is a Korean Jace player.
Yeah.
He is one of the ones that we have here in the LCK.
Oh, and actually Smash is taking teleport. Interesting one, as the flash hook not going to quite connect there.
You know that you're never really going to have the trade pattern to actually look for a barrier play into this composition, and cleanse feels relatively low value. And really, you're only cleansing a Pantheon or maybe like a root from Carrier on the leash. So it does make a lot of sense to go for TP, especially on the losing lane as Faker.
Yeah, is going to try and shove back Lucid, who gets himself out of there. The Q is going to miss, though. And so Faker will survive. No flash, remember. That's why Lucid decided to go for it and waited for the rocks to be on cooldown as well, so that he could actually get in. As now Ona, not going to quite find the angle there, but will have a very deadly spear being lined up pretty soon.
We haven't seen FaZe complete his first back yet. He's going to go ahead and take that now. See, with the small lead he has, just going to grab Greaves on first back, which is really high value for Yunara. Even grabs the extra longsword there, so a lot of money he had in his inventory. The lead that Showmaker has picked up here hasn't really amounted to too much just yet, but he grabs a plate now and is starting to build up a small CS advantage.
Yep.
And Doran, obviously on the top side, has a greater lead, but doesn't necessarily mean as much, well, not as much as like a small lead here for Showmaker. I don't want to compare the two of them. What I mean is, this lead isn't a huge one. Is Carrier?
Yeah, is going to be face tanking here, and down he will go. Lucid able to pick up first blood. True Shot Barrage helping out.
There was a ward in the river.
Sometimes you walk into Tribrush and you make it most of the way via a hook,
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a big win.
It is.
Kill goes over to Lucid in the bottom lane. And that lead is more significant. Really what I was getting at is that the Scion is going to be okay to be down on gold into this matchup, and they opted into that. They knew that was going to be the case. His job is to just be a health bar later on. This is a more significant advantage picked up as this Lee Sin starting to get off the ground.
Oh, let's see. Korea does not throw the hook. But remember, you miss every hook you don't take, so technically he just missed the hook.
Sure.
As Carrier, let's get a ward on over. Let's cancel Korea's back there momentarily. Smash off to the side, God Hand, not quite activated. Seismic Shove also not going to quite connect here, so everyone is safe for the moment. Room Prison comes on through, but Showmaker still taking a fair bit of damage back as the threaded volley is starting to hurt. We'll have to see what Faker's build is going to be. It looks like it is going to be a Seraph's, but we have seen other Talias go for second item. Leandri's, for example, with the Scion on the enemy team could be a decent option.
Definitely going to be one of the options for him here. The thing I'm looking at in this game so far here for T1 is, we haven't seen as much of an impact from Owner in this game. Hasn't used his ultimate just yet, and it doesn't look like he's going to be using it here to affect this bottom lane. He also doesn't have insanely strong side laning champions to play through. Oftentimes with this Pantheon, you end up having a Azir to play through, for example, or a really strong pushing. Sometimes if you have like Pantheon Ryze, the Ryze has great wave clear. It can be a huge threat in sides, or even sometimes a Gwen. He has a Jace, which can do a lot if left alone, but is pretty fragile, so he can help defend the Jace, but it's also a Talia with Ghost, so I think he needs to do a little bit more early here. He does have a nice angle right now. He's unseen behind the enemy lines.
Yeah, the problem as well is that it's Carrier here on the Karma, so not going to be backing him up with too much extra, as now Owner and Faker do find Showmaker, but he does move himself out of the way. You're going to connect there onto Owner as the kick. Let's see whether it does actually come on down. Exhaust comes through, but he then misses the hook. Unfortunate there for Korea. And so that is going to be the end of that.
Okay, now an all-in angle here for Pays, a level down.
Yeah. Smash, not quite finding it here, as the Mystic shots are difficult to land when Pays is running extraordinarily quickly. Ghost and ulti going to be helping him out there. The flash forward from Showmaker, though, that actually catches Jonas Strong off guard, and that's another kill for Lucid. This time the hook is going to connect, but there was no one else there. And so Owner is going to turn that into an engage for himself, but only has Carrier backing him up. And so DK just 2-0 with not much of a response.
Yeah, and Pays doesn't actually follow on the all-in there on the bottom side, even though it felt like he had a pretty decent angle to continue trying to push Smash out. So Smash actually gets almost everything here and still remains up on farm. As Lucid's even going to take some of the jungle away here from Owner.
The teleport, I believe, just spotted him as he teleported over the top of the camp. That was a cute one, but he is now going to be going back home. So Owner should be able to take this Drake, though.
They get the Dragon here, but this is just DPLUS playing very proactively in the early game and punishing T1 quite heavily.
And Lucid is the one that's the benefactor, right? We were asking him, like, Lucid, can you be more proactive? Well, he's 2-0 in this game. There are only 2 kills so far, so that is certainly looking good. Obviously, this was largely off the back of Showmaker with a great flash.
Yeah, Showmaker gets the flash route, and now there's just no real play here for T1 on the follow. As Faker didn't have flash, has it now, but the Lee Sin here, we said he didn't really have lanes to play through, but he's found opportunities. As Shiu, I don't know if this is an opportunity.
Oh, he gets a flash kind of as a freebie, and so you'll take those.
And like Lucid is on the top side of the map. I don't know if they make something of this, he might be able to.
Oh dear, Lucid going to be able to at least stop him from backing out of the way, but we know that there's no one coming. There's no teleport on this team, nothing at all, and so that is just going to be an easy one picked up here by the DK jungler. Make that 3-0 here for the Lee Sin.
Well, DPLUS are really off to the races in this one, and T1 are really going to struggle to find their way back in. I mean, consider that this Jace does not have TP, now is going to find himself, even in CS, the Sion takes a lead as 2 plates are given over. And this Talia is going to take a long time before she can really start setting up plays. And Owner has felt invisible in this game, just behind the plays here from Lucid.
Oh,
finds himself 1,000 behind.
Oh, another hook going to go wide here. This Pays doesn't have his Ghost back available just yet, but also hasn't had to use his flash at all this game. So feeling pretty comfortable on this Yanara. A looming threat, you could say, as that Realm Warp was optimistic at best, and Showmaker will be going down as T1 pick up their first kill of the game. That's a max range hook, very nicely done there, as Carrier's burning down. Takes the Blitzcrank for a walk, though, and he will get snared. And Korea looking a little worse for wear, but otherwise is going to be all right. Pays just able to offer so much damage back.
Crazy amount of damage, and because there's no real follow-up here when you already used your buttons as Career, Pays can just walk up and know that he wins these exchanges because the Ezreal can't offer the same amount of damage back unless he gets everything. He's got sidesteps. Faker will also grab plate gold here in the mid lane. As finally, Owner makes a play. He's been looking for these plays all game long, but hasn't found the right one until just now, as he can stop the Realm Warp here from Showmaker and take him out. He's flashless. The kill goes over to the Pantheon. So finally on the board here, RT1, and with that play on the bottom side, they picked up a little bit more gold there too. So it's a close game. T1 have that first Dragon. See if DPLUS can continue to be proactive here. It's hard to say which comp has a timer on it, like in terms of which comp scales better, because obviously with the Rise here on the side of DPLUS and this relatively safe Ezreal, they have a lot of. Here comes the Talia wall.
Yeah. T1 looking for an angle towards Korea, and there's the flash from Owner. Gets the flash out of Korea, but he's a little bit late on that one. Seismic Shove going to push him back, and even through the ulti, he is very, very dead. And Faker just decided that Korea was gone.
Yeah. And T1 have kind of decided they want to start using their globals.
Well, Lucid has also decided that he wants to kick Doran into a Scion. That was beautifully played. Carry is going to be there, and everyone else is turning up as well. Lucid will break the tether and then safeguards away. Going to be able to take them on a merry jaunt through the jungle. And Showmaker getting some plates on the other side. Let's see whether Lucid can actually execute himself. He might actually be never mind. Faker is able to get it, and there's even an assist over for Carrier.
Yeah,
he did buy a bit of time.
Unfortunately for him, he didn't quite get enough time there to get away. And the kill does go over to Faker, but feels pretty okay here for DPLUS. You know, they end up getting a lot of plate gold for this Rise, and he's one of their big win cons. I was just starting the conversation about scaling as TP here from Doran.
Yeah, it's going to bring him towards his bottom side of the map. He's spotted on that ward as Korea makes his way down. Does get the knockup, but there's Carrier here as well, so Korea's just really dead.
I'm not sure if where they saw him. There is that ward over the wall. I guess that's where they spotted him, there in the river. They also have that ward to the left of the Dragon Pit, so T1 were just like, all right, I think we collapse on Career. And there's nothing really Showmaker can do to help him out with a prio that pays, and Carrier is still having the mid lane. So just a really cool heads-up play from Doran. He's had quite a few of those teleport plays in this series already. The Rumble now on the Jace here, picking up a second kill onto Career.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate though, because that is sort of 2 deaths in a row here for Korea, and the tempo that DK did have an advantage in just kind of slipping away, right? And so now we have Rod of Ages completed here for Showmaker. That is going to be starting to stack up, you know, 25 minutes or something like that, and he will have that one completely done. And looking to get that tier transformed into his Seraphs next.
Yeah, eventually we'll get that actualizer and then be a real damage dealer. But for now,
speaking of real things, well, real damage dealers, I'm looking at Pays, absolutely.
Yes.
But on the other side, it is going to be Showmaker and to a lesser extent, I think Smash in this game. I think it's a little bit more difficult just because if Smash is ever sort of even slightly in range of Pays just kind of 3 hits him and he dies.
Exactly. So that's the thing, like, Ezreal can avoid a lot of the engage, but it's a little bit tougher for Rise. And if Rise dies, then Pays just doesn't care about anything. He doesn't care about anyone, and he will kill anyone.
Yeah.
If he gets hooked by Career, he's like, I will kill Career.
Not as worried about a hook that is now on cooldown.
Pantheon ult.
Yeah, we have Chemtech Soul, as there is the ulti out of Ona, like you were talking about. They just decide to kill Smash. This is kind of what we were talking about, as the I think, is not going to get picked up. It's a double here for Pays, as Lucid going to be able to take the Rise exit. But I don't think that's really what they wanted, because now Pays is on the board, and this is the problem that they had in the last game.
Yeah, very similar story here. Now they're looking for more.
Yeah, Ona is going to be able to get the stun. Seismic Shove does go wide, though, as Showmaker is still getting a fair bit of work done here. Lucid goes in and then tries to go out, but explodes, tethered up there by Carrier. And Showmaker once again sidesteps, but straight into a spear. And DK have just fallen apart.
Yeah, I shudder to think what CV Max is doing right now after watching all that. Oh, Atlas, it was looking so good at the start of this game.
It's like a house of cards every time, isn't it, Wolf?
They get Dragon, they come over here for the contest using the Pantheon Global, right? And this Weaver's Wall also perfectly placed here from Faker. Not only does it really deny Showmaker entry, but it prevents the retreat. It's such a perfect wall. And then the Realm Warp comes down here. Lucid is able to get out miraculously. And then in this set of circumstances, Showmaker, really nice dodge here, but Lucid going back in here is definitely going to raise C-Max's higher, let's say.
I think perhaps he thought that the rocks were going to expire earlier than they did, because it was not really the look he was going for.
It was already a bit rough.
Oh, Showmaker is able to get the phase rush now, so should be able to catch up to Faker momentarily. Let's see whether he gets in range, as no flash.
Lucid's here.
Yeah, Lucid is going to try and make something happen. Seismic Shove now on cooldown, as there's the mini stun into the wall, and Lucid is able to lock down that kill. So there's a little bit back here for DK.
A little bit of redemption, yeah. All right, feeling better about this one. This also could be a freebie.
Yeah, the flash in from Doran as he looks to just eviscerate Showmaker, and that absolutely works, as now Smash tries to Arcane Shift himself out of the way, and there is the knockup onto Pays. In the meantime, though, as Lucid outplays, finds the angle onto Doran, and the gank in the mid lane does not quite work out. So maybe we were signing the obituary for DK a little early.
I don't know why. I mean, Lucid is also going to die slowly again, it looks like. Don't think he'll be able to get the execute, but
I think he will, because I don't think he's been touched for quite some time.
I just don't know if he gets there in time.
Yeah, he needs to die ASAP. As Pays, let's see whether he hits him with something. No, Slurkle doesn't land, and Lucid is going to dictate his own fate here. Danny will go to a minion.
All right, well, that ends up buying a lot of extra time there as well. Surprised Pays didn't flash for it, but I guess he decided that losing his flash for potential gold there was just not worth it. So decided not to go for it, wanted to go for the arc instead, and did not get the kill. So Faker dies ultimately here, as we do end up seeing this. You know, he runs away for a really long time, but Lucid does come over. And then we were like, all right, so what happens next? Because Doran just loves TP flanking in this series. He does decide instantly to go for one. Up here to the top side
He's
of the map.
all about vengeance today.
And then after they get the kill onto Showmaker, That's when the magic happens here. So watch it from Lucid's perspective.
Yeah, gets it. That was pretty cute. Just trying to make sure that he is missed by as many buttons as possible.
And also, like, I mean, unless Doran hits everything, I think he probably kills him in every scenario there. But Doran really wanted to get the kill on a Showmaker, and I mean, he did not miss a beat there. And now he has 6 kills.
Yeah, it is. It's every single kill on DK is Lucid right now, who has got most of the items. He is at least building a heck of a lot of damage, and so that is good news. The Scion gonna have to ulti away, otherwise that seismic shove could have been problematic. So Chiyu now without his ult, but I don't think that's gonna be end of the world exactly. 1 minute until this Chemtech Soul.
I do appreciate how Faker is built in this game. I think a lot of people might be just annoyed because it doesn't do damage to Scion.
I just don't like it.
But Showmaker may be dead again.
Yeah, Showmaker doesn't like it either, as he is just really dead. Owner going to be able to pick that one up with the help of Doran. And so, even though it was a bit of a slow start this game, Owner is really putting some stats together for himself. 4-0-3 here on the Pantheon.
Yeah, now, I mean, there's this Karma just constantly controlling Prio in mid. Pace just keeps whittling away at this turret. Now it's also down to a single plate here. And they're set up for Dragon here. It's 20 seconds until their sole point, potentially, if they can secure it here, is set. Nona doesn't have his ult, but he doesn't need it because they have Prio, so he can just walk in. And they have Weaver's Wall. So this is where things get really hard for DPLUS now. Even with Showmaker respawning, guess what? He went Ghost, so he doesn't have TP, doesn't have Realm Orb. And T1 really can do no wrong on this Dragon setup. Doran also getting his TP back right now. Completes his mana.
Yeah, Korea, unfortunately, not going to quite find that hook as, oh god, the Arc of Ruin is just too scary. And Korea punished immediately. As soon as that hook's on cooldown, he is just not really able to do much of anything at all, as Pei still has a bit of ulti running. Still fair bit back as Showmaker is doing a bunch of work, but Lucid just gonna get shut down by Doran, and they're gonna look for even more. Showmaker under the turret is not able to survive, and the outer will fall at the same time. In the meantime, Chiyu and Faker just fighting towards the bottom side. And
forget Dragon!
Yeah, they thought about a soul point, but then they were like, purple?
Yeah. And that is exactly what they're going to go for. With the Chemtech Soul, they get the Empowered Honey Fruit just to make it even easier to take this one down.
There you go.
And DPLUS. Okay, this is optimistic.
Yep.
And you know what?
Let's see whether he can hit these Mystic Shots as the Seismic Shove does connect. Korea misses the hook.
I thought Faker might have hit a goner there, but if he doesn't hit the hook, I suppose it is going to be just fine. Okay, so missing the hook here into the slow means, okay, you're just dead. And that's kind of how Blitzcrank is. It's a little bit binary, but they had no setup, so they had to fish for something. And the pace is just so huge. Like, Smash cannot contend with him. And Doran over the wall.
Yeah.
And
it's the vision control, right?
It's just everything. They have vision control, they have map control, they have this turret under their control. Showmaker is dying on repeat in this game. Couldn't show up because he didn't have TP.
Oh, there's the kick flash as Faker out of position potentially, but does just shove Lucid back. And now Owner's going to turn up. There's a teleport in from Doran as well. Lucid immediately punished as a hook is going to connect, and the Scion is at least able to get some work done here towards Doran, but he gets a big old shield. We're going to check out a replay for a moment, but now we are back to watching Chiyu die. We couldn't actually show on camera what had just happened, and so therefore we just panned away.
Censored!
Yep, censored 100%, and I appreciate it a lot.
As Carrier does not have Ardent Censor in this game, but...
I thought that was what did it.
It's not in this case. He's got a pretty similar KDA to his Yumi game last game, and this game state starts to feel pretty similar as well. A little bit more owner focused this time around, as he had a slow start, as you pointed out, but sitting at 12 and 15 KP right now, and this game is looking pretty over.
Yeah. Hook again, gonna go wide, and DK probably realizing they'll have to possibly concede this inner turret, as instead it will just be a plate taken here by T1, and they look for a little bit of a reset. In the meantime, Doran towards the bottom side, and you know, you said this already, if the Jace ever gets some spare time with some turrets, they just kind of explode.
They do. Didn't necessarily think it was going to work out that way for them in this game with how the early game went, but like, this is classic T1. I think T1 fans, they're like, it's my favorite, it's a classic. You think you got Faker, but actually my whole team is coming and you're all going to die. And it's a little bit boring, it's a little bit overdone, but guess what? Teams just keep trying to kill Faker, and in this lead for T1 in the global jungler, You can't get him.
Nope.
You try, you can't get him. He baits you. You lose the game. They were already losing the game, but it feels surely lost now.
It certainly is. As we're going to have a look at that replay. Meanwhile, in live, Lucid is dying, and Doran is just going to do some flips and land on his head.
Production.
We'll go the Lee Sin.
They really just want to shelter DPLUS fans today, and I think it's maybe warranted.
Oh, stationary target. There we go. Never mind. He's just dead. Sometimes you hit the hook and it's not exactly what you want to see. Shiu's on the wrong side of the wall. Faker also just going to come on in there and eviscerate Smash. Ona turns up as well as Showmaker is just kept out with that Aegis. And Shiu is a zombie, but not for very long. This game is donezo, ladies and gentlemen. T1 will just roll over the top of DK here in game number 2. It was a great start, especially by Lucid. But then we felt it, that back-breaking moment. And then it all fell apart. That house of cards just flat on the floor.
I feel robbed. I thought game 1, DPLUS had a great draft into what T1 put together. I didn't doubt T1, but I thought, okay, well, this should be interesting, right? Like, let's see how T1 plays it out. But it just became such a foregone conclusion so quickly. And then in this game, they just let it go so fast. T1, 12,000 gold up here now, sub 25 minutes. Yes, their Nexus will survive for now. But if this is what game 2 looks like, from the team that has historically not been able to find their footing and get momentum back in lost series.
It was the Mega Cone engage into death angle.
Yeah, well, that's one way to describe it. As here, you thought you caught Doran, and they did catch him, actually.
Yeah.
But they just don't have the damage to kill him.
Yeah.
And Faker, this is the hilarious. Faker's just like, I don't like that Smash guy anymore. He left us. Like, Faker just is like, I'm going to kill him. You guys
Wrong
keep pushing
jersey now, buddy.
Oh, no. It's a tragedy on the Rift. It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, I was a 3-0 predictor, and we're not there yet. But it starts to feel more likely. I wanted more. These two teams, we had the history of them together, right? It's a massive win for T1, 9-3. But it's still 32-18 games, and a lot of these series have been pretty interesting, especially in the Damwon and DPLUS Kia early days era of, you know, them playing T1 close, right? And taking a finals against them. But ended up being pretty one-sided in the last time they met up against each other earlier this year. And it's looking like it might be the case here once again. As, like, these drafts are also not that desperate. Like, yes, it's tough to play into the Karma. They went for the Blitzcrank, but 0-5 on the Blitzcrank I think is not really what they had planned. It's not how they imagined this game going. 0-5 on the Rise, getting collapsed on in sides, I don't think is what they had planned for this game. And sure, Lucid got a lot done, but he was the only one who was able to pick up gold, and T1 were just able to out-macro. And this Pantheon pick, even though it was slow, it could just impact everywhere. Dalia's Weaver's Walls from Faker have been so good this game, too. And it just feels like now you're thinking about your Game 3 draft more than anything else, and maybe Max won't pick blue side this time.
Yeah, let's hope so. I want to see like some second pick options, maybe get some counter pick angles in there, although I guess they had that for the last couple of games. Never mind. I don't know. I don't know what the... I really think that it's about mindset more than anything else. I think they need some encouragement and things like this on DK's side. Someone needs to tell them that they can do it. Because right now it looks like they do not believe that they can. Now, let's see whether they can do this one, as the hook is going to go wide because Ona is engaging onto Shiu. Endless Hunger has been done for Smash, but the Scion is done. He's just leaving. And the rest of DK now kind of caught with their pants down just a little bit here. Safeguard does get Lucid into the Realm Warp, and so that will get them out, as there's a flash hook. Gets the flash out of Ona.
Is pushing this bottom lane with a pretty big wave here. Shiu is going to have to answer. Looks like he's going to pick up 2 plates off of this. And if they had Realm Warp, maybe they could collapse on him, but he's got Weaver's Wall, and he's just going to be able to run away here as the rest of his team does Baron, because it's a 3.5 item Yunara.
They did at least stop going for Faker because they realized that the Baron was up. So
okay, they are learning.
That is a good idea.
I think it might have been too slow, though.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be able to get over there, as the Q's going to miss some Lucid, and he is just going to be taken for a walk. So there is just a free Baron, and now the Weaver's Wall from Faker as he looks to try and start this fight off. Korea taking a lot of damage as he gets a big old shield. There's a flash out from Faker though. True Shot Barrage is decent as Showmaker is stunned up. The hook is going to connect onto Ona, but he survives, and Doran dives into the backline and just destroys them. What was that damage? The Scion is able to punish him, but this is game over, ladies and gentlemen. Pei's able to finish off the Scion, and that'll be the ace, and T1 will march up the mid lane.
It's not quite a record-breaking pace here for T1, but this game certainly felt over a long time ago, and it's two demoralizing losses back-to-back here for DPLUS as T1 recover fast from their loss against BNK and now put themselves one win away from going to Hong Kong, trying to fight their way to face old rivals in Gen G.
Yeah, Korea almost